So I've went about a month without having social media. At the beginning of the month, I deleted my Facebook and Instagram off of my phone. I didn't deactivate. I just deleted the apps and decided I did not want to be on them this month. Little did I know it was going to be one of those months where there was a lot to talk about. There's a lot of sharing going on, a lot of events happening in the world that would cause people to have opinions and things that I would think were interesting to see and hear. And I was tempted to get on social media to see a lot of those things. And I was just like, no, you just need to stay the course. Don't do it. Uh, Stay focused. And maybe at the end of the month, if you feel like you're still compelled to get online, then download the apps and just get right back on. But the longer that I spent off of social media, the more I started realizing a ton of things, not just about myself, but how the world operates and how I tend to think when it comes to sharing information and the use of social media. And really, there was a few things that came to mind. Um, I, I'm going to share a couple of those things. So the very first thing is kind of linked to the video that I made prior to this. It's just like doom scrolling can ruin your life. It absolutely can ruin your life. And the real issue is like you spend so long just scrolling for no reason. Like you spend hours just swiping and you have no idea why you're even doing it. I think about the time that I've gained back, and I just look back and like how silly does it look for a grown person just to pull out their phone every 5 seconds at a stoplight, you know, in the doctor's office, instead of just waiting, just learning to be patient, learning to be bored, learning to have some self control. And you start realizing like how ridiculous it is to constantly have your phone in your hand. And half the time, you're not even really looking. You're not reading every little thing. And we're already bombarded with information. So, like, why do we need more? Sorry for all the bumps in the road. I'm driving, obviously. But, like, it's crazy to me, like, that we're so caught up in this. Like, we're addicted to it. We're addicted to not even just scrolling, but just pulling our phone out. We're addicted to every time we stop, we have to look at our phone. We have to grab our phone, check notifications, look at this. Like, we can't even be bored anymore. Like, we've lost all ability to just sit still and be patient and let our thoughts kind of control how we do things, or to process things, because we don't give our minds enough time to process things that we're going through. We could have easily had an experience in life and it have some kind of effect on us. And the second we have free time, we start scrolling instead of actually processing and trying to figure out, how could I handle that better? Why did I handle that so good this time? What am I going to do today? What do I need to do today? So yeah, doom scrolling can literally make or break your life, especially if you have mental disorders. And I don't like to say disorders, maybe illnesses, ADHD, anxiety, depression. Man, the amount of information and the kind of information that we get most of the time is not good. And it doesn't really benefit us. And so why would we take the time to just keep giving ourselves bad information that's going to make us more anxious, make us more depressed? Why would we do that to ourselves? Like, that's terrible. It would actually be therapeutic for a lot of us to just put the phone down and say, like, I don't need all of this information. I know it was good for me, especially with a lot of the things that happened this month. Not having to read everybody's little pontifications over uh, things that happen. It was good for me to process it for myself and not to see everybody else's opinion, and just kind of have peace about where I stand, not feeling any pressure from anybody else, not being in an echo chamber of my friends, thinking I should bow down to what they say or how they feel and agree with them, and I can process it on my own. So yeah, doom scrolling can make or break your life. The second thing is I started realizing like people that want to keep in touch with me, they will. It was on my birthday was this month, and I no doubt have had a bunch of people on Facebook reach out and say happy birthday, and if you did, thanks. Um, but people that know me, that are close to me, that reached out via text message, like that was cool to see. Even if they did get a notification on Facebook, they saw that it was my birthday, and they reached out in a more personal way on a different level and said happy birthday. And if they want to keep in touch, they will. If you really start to see like who your group is, like who cares, who wants to reach out, and you really start to take inventory, like those are the people that I want to invest my time in, and those are the people that I want to pour my energy into and not have to think about. Granted, a ton of great people. I love a ton of people. There's a lot of great acquaintances in my life, but you really start really understanding this idea of like friends. Like they can be your Facebook friends, but are they your actual friends that you're doing life with? You start seeing that a little more clear, and that was comforting. And so your fear of not staying connected with people, like I understand wanting to stay connected to them, but if you want to stay connected to them, you can take some initiative to be more personal too, and not rely solely on Facebook. Another thing that I really started seeing was like, man, a lot of sharing my opinions, and I have a video about what needing to stay quiet and give opinions on every little thing. And I realized that a lot of my opinions, they weren't so much like giving my opinion wasn't so much about me wanting to have a voice, but it was more about seeking external validation. Like getting likes and shares on an opinion that I had, that made me feel good because it made me feel validated by someone other than myself, my wife, my kids, the Lord. And I had to I had to, I had to stop and think like, man, that's crazy that I need so much validation from people that really don't know who I am or don't, that don't care. And like, maybe I'm creating echo chambers that I shouldn't, and I don't need that type of validation in my life. I don't need somebody kind of fueling my ego to make me feel better so that I can keep giving opinions that could be divisive. Um, I don't I don't want to be divisive. I think you should create dividing lines in certain areas, but there's a lot of things that like, man, nobody's asking for my opinion. No one's asking me to do things that are going to intentionally cause grief for somebody. And if my validation comes at the cost of someone's spirit or emotions or mental health, like, bro, I have to kind of check myself and say, what are my motives? Because if my motives are to seek validation, bro, that's pride. That's arrogance. And I need to stop thinking so highly of myself and start thinking like, man, how can I do this in a more Christ-like way? And not having social media kind of helped me see that. I don't need a lot of external validation. Like, I need confirmation from my wife, who I love and who cares about me and knows what kind of person I am. I need confirmation from the Lord, who is my guiding light and has given me life and is teaching me how to do life. And my close friends just kind of having conversations. Like, I'm cool with that. Like, I'm down with that. Um, that was probably the biggest one for me, is just trying to just seeing like, man, why do I need so much validation? Like, that's crazy. How much I need my ego stroked in a lot of areas. Um, Man, it's insane to think that I need that much. But anyway, and something else that I've come to realize with not having social media is, I don't. There's a lot of, like I said a second ago, there's a lot of headlines that come out. There's a lot of information that is coming out that doesn't really need, like, I don't need to act on it. I don't need to act on every little thing, and I'm really starting to believe that, like, the fear of missing out is a made up concept. Like, I don't think that there is a true fear of missing out. I think it's more of an anxiety of being overlooked. Like, if something happens, you know, if it's big, I'm going to hear about it. There was a big event that happened this month. I don't feel like talking about it. Um, that everybody was talking about, and I didn't miss out on it. I didn't have social media, but it was everywhere. Big news stories are going to pop up. Things that are relevant to me, I'm going to hear about just naturally through the grapevine of relationships that I have. But the fear of missing out on something, like, it's not there. It's just an anxiety of me being overlooked, so that when something happens, I can give my take on it, so that people can say, like, oh, well, he believes this, or he's on this side of it, or he's so smart, he did this. And it goes back to the validation thing. Like, I don't need I need to stop thinking like everybody's looking to me to have some type of thought on something. I don't need to think about how people might forget me in the shuffle of things. And on a Christian level, like, at what point do we stop saying, like, I need to voice what I think is right, so that people see me as smart, so that people see me as spiritual, so that people see me as um, just on their side, or however you want to spin it. Like, I'm okay with being overlooked, and I'm okay with people seeing an event and not really knowing how I feel about it. So I really do believe that the FOMO, or fear of missing out, like, it's another way of saying, like, I'm so anxious that I need to know every little detail over every little thing that is mostly irrelevant to me, uh, especially when it comes to making sure people don't forget that I have smart opinions, or I have the right take. You know, like, we're just creating more anxiety for ourselves. There's a lot of other things that I've kind of observed over this last month without having social media, but I mean, those are the big reasons that I might not ever go back. No one's, like, interested in, like, my pics, my random pictures that I take on Instagram, or my opinions. Like, they might be interested if I post it, but no one's seeking me out for these things. No one's seeking me out and say, how do you feel about this? Like, I don't want to say no one, because, like, when I say no one, I mean people outside of my circle. Um, but, like, man, the lack of anxiety in my life to have to tell somebody what I think is right, and if they want to know, they'll reach out, right? If they want guidance on how I see this spiritually, like, I can give that to them, and they can reach out through a text. But I don't need to go out of my way to feel validated. I don't need to go out of my way to uh, feel unnecessary and self-inflicted pressure to comment on every little thing. And it's like I said before, like, I need to be focused on, how do I teach my children the right way to process these things? How do I walk with my wife and how to process these things? How do I ensure that they have a steady anchor or steady sail in their life that says, like, as we move forward and as things happen, who can I go to about this, and just really focus on my direct circle of influence. And man, social media, not having it has freed me up to really think about a lot of that stuff a lot more clearly, because I'm not so worried about all the people that aren't thinking about me on a regular basis. And so if you're thinking about giving up social media, like, think through those things. Like, think through how much, like, are you seeking external validation from people that aren't really thinking about you until you post something. Think about how you're just constantly on your phone for no reason. Like, you don't even know why you're on your phone. Think about every time you pick up your phone, ask yourself, why did I even pick this up? Like, no one's calling me. No one's texting me. No one's interacting with me. Like, just think about those things. Like, how much time do you spend doing things that you don't even know that you're doing it? You don't even know why you're doing it. So that's been my experience, not being on social media. Again, social media is a great tool for a lot of good things, but we misuse great tools all the time. And the more that we can use tools for what the good things are, and less for creating self-inflicted anxiety or pressure for no reason, man, like, what a world we would live in. But yeah, I challenge anyone, spend a month without it. Spend a month where you're not, like, on vacation, or you're not just checking out because you're so busy. Like, spend an intentional month during a regular setting of life and just ask yourself, is this worth it? Is all of this extra stuff worth it? Is it worth my mental health and the sanity of my family and the sanity of yourself to put yourself in a situation where you feel like you have all this anxiety and need to be in the know for a lot of things? And I know a lot of people are like, well, I like to do yada, yada, yada. I like it for this, that. Like, great. Yeah, you know what's best for you. But I do think that there's some wisdom in stepping back and saying, I really do need to see if this external validation is something that I'm seeking. I really do need to see if I'm just doom scrolling for no reason. I really need to see who my circle of friends really are. I really need to see if I have anxiety over being overlooked and forgotten. Man, sometimes we need that. We don't need, like, our egos are just naturally bigger than what we like to think they are. So put it in check. Go without for a while. Figure out how you can live your life in a way that creates less anxiety, less pressure, less fear, less depression, less information, and just see what your life is like. Man, like, our generations before, they had they had the same amount of information that we did. It's just they weren't exposed to it, and they focused on what they had to focus on in everyday life, and their lives were not ridden with anxiety and depression. So that's my challenge. I hope that you walk away from this video, if you're watching, and just really take an inventory of, I could really be doing better. I could really have a better life if I rid myself of a lot of these things. So hopefully that's helpful. Please steward your time well, steward your social media well. And if you can't steward your social media and your time well, figure out how you can simultaneously eliminate a lot of these unnecessary things from your life in order to serve the Lord in a better, more joy-filled way. So until next time, grace and peace.